fiction writer turned cult leader presenting Writers of the Future featuring Brandon Sanderson as a judge, as a writer of the future. Let's get into it. Today is Saturday, June 25th, and I have mostly been intermittently crying and trying to avoid the internet and just taking in what it's like to be in the United States. So, to distract myself, besides the wine, me and my partner went out, got some Italian food, got some gelato, and then went to my favorite place, the bookstore, where I found what do I even fucking call this? Do you see this? L. Ron Hubbard presents Writers of the Future Volume 32 with some pretty big fucking names on it, like Brandon Sanderson amongst them, of the ones I have read. You can see I bought it at Half Price Love, so I'm gonna take that out. I zeroed in on this because I have recently finished reading Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montell, and listening to her podcast covering cults basically in our everyday lives, and ranking them from get the fuck out to like live your life. So, cannot recommend enough. Anyways, I cued in on L. Ron Hubbard because for those of you who don't know, besides being a writer, L. Ron Hubbard famously invented Scientology, a fucking cult. So I have so many things going on, and so I bought the book. Okay, it was on clearance. I found it in the clearance section, which is, you know, where I want to go. I spent a whole $3 on it because I was absolutely flabbergasted and needed to know more about what the fuck 32 plus volumes. How recent was this book? How close is L. Ron Hubbard related to this? Also, L. Ron Hubbard is dead. So there were lots of questions, and I figured because that's what I want to do on a Saturday night, I would figure out what the fuck this is. And then I would film it and take you along with me because that's what I'm feeling like doing. Should I try and take the sticker off now? Oh, it's gonna peel off smoothly. Oh, that was satisfying. So the first thing I actually did whilst I was in the store was look up when this was published. Volume 32 obviously implying that it has been a hot minute that they have been doing this. And come to my actual surprise that this was 2016. So here I am thinking, is this still a fucking thing, and how closely connected is it to Scientology? When you have the fucking Scientologist himself. So you know the first thing that we should do? Turn to Wikipedia. I do think it's funny to note real quick, there's actually a sub-point about connections to Scientology, but we will get there. So the date it was created was 37 years ago, which if I have volume 32, and it looks like the last one, maybe if the highlights are to be believed, was in 2018. This might be close to the last one. Writers of the Future, What If? Is a science fiction and fantasy story contest that was established by L. Ron Hubbard in the early 1980s. A sister contest, Illustrators of the Future, presents awards for science fiction art. Hubbard characterized the contest as a way of giving back to the field that had defined his professional life. The contest has no entry fee and is the highest paying contest for amateur science fiction fantasy writers. Notable past winners of What If include a bunch of people with hyperlinks. Patrick Rothfuss is one of them. Dean Wesley Smith is one of them. These are names I've heard. Nancy Farmer? What? Shut the fuck up. No way. I fucking loved The House of the Scorpion. Okay, whatever. Let's get back on track. What I want to find is... Okay, Brandon Sanderson was a judge. So was Orson Scott Card. Okay, let's scroll down. Oh, 2021 was the last year, so I was fucking wrong. So this is still going. What is the connection to Scientology then? The original sponsor of the contest was Bridge Publications, Inc., the publishing arm of the Church of Scientology. Prior to the 2004 contest, the sponsorship moved to Author Services, Inc. under the trade name Galaxy Press, which was spun off from Bridge to publish Hubbard's fiction in contest anthologies. Characterized as a promotional vehicle for Hubbard himself, who returned to science fiction writing with Battlefield Earth at the same time as he began the contest. The prominence of Hubbard's name and the lavish funding of the contest awards, publicity, and ceremonies have led to some to speculate the contest as a part of a campaign by the Church of Scientology to promote Hubbard's status in the science fiction literary communities. So this is a thing. Am I just out of the loop? Is this a thing that everyone knew was a thing? Let's see if I can say thing 5 more times. Entering or winning the contest does not require or imply endorsement or membership in the Church of Scientology. The contest itself has been endorsed by a wide range of well-known speculative fiction writers. See judges and winners above who have no relation to Scientology. I mean, according to the director of the Writers and Illustrators Contest, Johnny Labourra, the funds to underwrite the contest, including the cash prizes, the gala awards ceremony, and the week-long pre-awards festivities, come from the Hubbard estate. The Hubbard estate is separate from the Church of Scientology and earns royalties from sales of Hubbard's book, including his fiction. Also reports that staff of Author Services, Inc. is made entirely of Scientologists. Fascinating. Let's see. Okay, they do have their own website. Oh wow. I can see the winners.
This generation of visionaries of tomorrow. L. Ron Hubbard presents the writers and illustrators.
Okay. When did L. Ron Hubbard die? I'm sorry. He died in 1986. But wasn't the fucking thing established in 85? Okay, so he dies in 1986. Best known for having founded the Church of Scientology. Yeah, when did he found it? Life in hiding? Hubbard faced an increasing number of legal threats. French Church of Scientology with fraud and customs violations in 1972. I was about to say, if this happened in present day, there's no fucking way that he'd be able to come back out with like, Writers of the Future, contest for future writers, no big deal. Founded Scientology, ruined so many lives. And then I thought about where we're at. So maybe he could have. Okay, so Scientology was founded in December of 1953. So people knew that this dude was terrible for a while, right? I mean, obviously there's been a lot that's come out in recent years, but if he's clearly spending his life in hiding. Anyways, so he comes out with, I just don't know that if I feel weird. Okay, let's go back to their website. So I'm meant to believe that this is like hugely in his name, but seemingly not connected at all. Do's and don'ts on submitting, Dragon Con, the power of story and censorship. Okay. Oh, about L. Ron Hubbard. Are you gonna... A culture is only as great as it dreams, and its dreams are a dream. Okay. In the 1930s and 1940s, through the heyday of pulp magazine that filled newsstands with countless pages of adventure. Okay, so he wrote a shit ton. Lots of published stories, lots of pen names. Oh damn. The artist is looked upon to start things. The artist injects the spirit of life into the culture. I'm not arguing that these are great quotes because they are great quotes, but does it not feel fucking weird? Also, no mention of Scientology, which like, don't have an about him that doesn't include it, right? Like, oh, okay, if you continue reading. This is a whole bunch to read about him and I don't really want to, so here's what we're gonna do. It's not mentioned at all. I typed that right. I'm sorry. In the larger part of his about, where I expanded, you're not gonna mention it at all? You only go to the 19... What? In 1983, L. Ron Hubbard created and endowed Writers of Future Content, meaning discover the concept very much an extension of a well-established and demonstrated policy of paying it forward. Ugh, okay. Enter writer contest, enter illustrator, about the contestants, family workshop, writer judges, annual awards ceremony, anthology by year, podcast. When was the last time the blog was up? There's forums, writer judges. Okay. Oh, lots of white guys. What? What? We got a little bit of diversity. Oh, there's Brando Sando. Became a judge in 2016. So literally the one I have is the one. Blog is semi-recently updated. I'm gonna guess there's no mention of Scientology. Can I search it up here? Let's find out. I just feel weird about the whole thing. So let's go ahead and look more at this book real quick. It has an introduction by David Farland, The Star Tree by John Lasser, some illustrations along the way. It looks like it's a mix of short stories, but also like general advice. For example, Bob Eggleton has directing the art. Brandon Sanderson has the fine distinction between cooks and chefs. And of course, L. Ron Hubbard, how to drive a writer crazy. Admittedly, if I'm just looking at the layout of this book, I actually quite like the mix of the short stories with actual sort of writing advice from famous authors or from judges of this competition. I'm only mentioning Brandon Sanderson repeatedly because I like Brandon Sanderson. I've read the Mistborn series, lots of my friends and my partner really love all of his series, more than I have read. I've really enjoyed his lecture series that he posts on YouTube for free. So this is not necessarily meant to pick on Brandon Sanderson, he's just the person that I have seen the most. I have read the most. But rather than reading the difference between cooks and chefs, what I would like to do is read L. Ron Hubbard's How to Drive a Writer Crazy, which precedes his The Last Admiral. Let me flip. Page 51, How to Drive a Writer Crazy. Okay, so 2 pages of advice right here. When he starts to outline a story, immediately give him several stories just like it to read and tell him 3 other plots. This makes his own story and his feelings for it vanish in a cloud of disrelated facts. When he outlines a character, read excerpts from stories about such characters, saying that this will clarify the writer's ideas, as this causes him to lose touch with the identity felt in his character by robbing him of individuality. He is certain to back away from ever touching such a character. Going to skip. Number 8, never fail to mention and then discuss budget problems with the writer, as he is very interested. 10, always tell a writer plot tricks as they are not his business. I am not judging the people who participate in this contest. If I'm going off of the Wikipedia article, $5,000 is a huge prize, especially when you don't have to pay anything forward to participate in the contest. That is a big thing for writers. We have talked recently in the community about how little money most writers will make over the course of their writing career. I'm not begrudging those writers. I don't know that I'm really begrudging the people who choose to be judges in the contest. I just think it's fucking weird. I think it's weird that the website doesn't mention it at all. It feels a little bit skeevy, I guess, especially with all of the information that we know now, to not even mention it. Obviously, it has given a lot of huge names in the fantasy world, the fantasy and sci-fi, the speculative world that we know now, a starting place potentially, and that is impressive in itself. But again, it just feels fucking weird. This doesn't totally loop back into can you separate the art from the artist, but like, can you separate the cult leader from the writing contest he runs? That is what I ask of ye. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Did everyone know this was a thing? Personally, as it stands, with what I know of Scientology and what I know of L. Ron Hubbard, I would not feel comfortable being a judge. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I want to know what you think. Like, what is this? Would you, now that you know about this contest, $5,000, no entry fee, big names attached to it, would you, this is like the worst would you rather question, would you submit a story in the hopes of winning it, even though you know a cult leader is the one who started it and whose money most likely stolen from people that he took advantage of? is what's paying for it. Like, oh, I never read the last sentence, which is the worst part. Let's fucking enhance this shit real quick. Records with the United States Patent and Trademark Office show that the rights to the Writers of the Future name were transferred from L. Ron Hubbard Estate, Family Trustee, to the Church of Spiritual Technology in 1989, and under the 1993 IRS closing agreement with the Church of Scientology, the L. Ron Hubbard Estate became part of the Church of Spiritual Technology, a Scientology-related entity. Clicking on the Church of Spiritual Technology, California nonprofit corporation. I will not get into how annoyed I am by the fact, I'm not even going to talk about religion in this, which owns all the copyrights of the estates of L. Ron Hubbard and licenses their use. CST does business as L. Ron Hubbard Library. Okay, I'm gonna answer my would you rather. I don't think I would enter this. You don't have to pay. I'm very concerned about where the money comes from. But you know what I am kind of side-eyeing though? This is so unfortunate. Am I side-eyeing the people who choose to judge this? You're not even gonna mention it on your fucking website. Like, you don't even have a little section where it's like, yeah, L. Ron Hubbard fucking sucked. Well, of course you don't, because it's still Scientology. Excuse me? I take it back. I guess I do judge. It's probably not going to stop me from reading any of the people that are the judges of this, but like, I skeeved out is the definition I'm going to go with. I really don't know how to feel. Or maybe I just don't want to vocalize how I feel because that means like putting it out there. I still don't really judge the people who are participating in the contest. Maybe you don't know who L. Ron Hubbard is. Maybe you really need $5,000. Maybe you really need to get a great contest under your belt. Like I don't know that I judge those people as much as the actual judges. I feel weird about this because it's not disconnected. I think that's what it is. If it was fully disconnected at this point and it's like, yeah, he started something, he's a shit person, whatever, you can kind of move on from it, but it's still fucking connected. You know what I'm saying? I don't... Is that the end of this? That is what the past couple days have been for me anyways. That's just petering off into that. Okay, thanks for watching. Would love to hear your thoughts. Did you know this was a thing? Would you enter? Would you judge? I have questions. I would love to hear a different side to this because I would love to think differently about some of these people. What the fuck? Okay, thanks, bye.